It was a cold dawn in Nottinghamshire, the kind that whispered through the trees and carried the scent of damp earth and smoke. The sun had not yet broken the horizon, but the forest was alive, 1,000 leaves trembling in anticipation as if nature herself waited for something to happen. And then, like a ghost slipping between shadows, he appeared. Hood drawn low, bow in hand, his eyes bright as the morning star. To some, he was a criminal, to others, a savior, but to all, he was a mystery. Robin of the Hood, the man who defied kings and rewrote the law beneath the green canopy of Sherwood Forest. They said he could split an arrow mid-flight. They said he could vanish into the trees faster than a falcon could dive. But those who truly knew him, those who fought beside him, said his greatest weapon wasn't his bow, but his heart. Robin wasn't born a hero. He was born Robert of Locksley, son of a nobleman loyal to King Richard the Lionheart. As a boy, he grew up among the rolling fields and meadows of England, learning to ride, to fight, and to live by honor. His laughter filled the halls of Locksley Manor, and his father would often say, "The world may bend, my son, but never bow your spirit." But the world did bend, and it broke. When King Richard left for the Crusades, the land fell under the rule of his brother, Prince John, whose greed was bottomless and whose cruelty had no restraint. Taxes bled the poor dry, and justice became a thing sold in gold coins. Robin returned from fighting in the Holy Land to find his home seized, his father executed for defiance, and the people of Nottingham starving under the sheriff's iron hand. That night, standing before the ashes of his burned estate, Robin swore an oath, not to kings, not to crowns, but to the people. He would fight not for glory, but for justice. And so, the nobleman became an outlaw. The forests of Sherwood became his refuge. It was here that he met Little John, a towering man with a grin as wide as the Trent River. Their first meeting was a clash of pride, a duel on a narrow log over the water. Robin lost the fight, drenched and laughing, and in that moment, a friendship was born that would outlast fear and famine. Then came Will Scarlet, fiery and reckless, Much the miller's son, humble but fierce, and Friar Tuck, the jolly priest with a flask always half full and a sermon for every sin. Together they became more than men. They became a legend. By day they were ghosts among the greenwood, unseen and untouchable. By night they struck like lightning, robbing the rich who rode through Sherwood's shadow and leaving behind the silver of justice in the hands of the poor. The people began to whisper his name with reverence. He steals from the rich and gives to the poor. To them, Robin Hood wasn't just a man. He was hope, breathing, walking, and fighting in the form of a hooded archer.
But legends invite enemies. The Sheriff of Nottingham was no fool. Cunning as a wolf, he turned spies into gold and betrayal into blood. For years he hunted Robin with traps and soldiers, promising the king's pardon to any who would betray the outlaw. Many tried, none succeeded. For Robin's greatest weapon wasn't just his bow, it was his love for the people. Farmers hid him, monks blessed him, mothers told their children to be brave, like Robin in the Green Hood. And in the midst of all this chaos, there was Marian, Lady Marian Fitzwalter, once his childhood friend, now the heart he could never truly hold. She lived within the castle walls, under the watchful eyes of the sheriff, playing a dangerous game, feeding Robin information, warning him of ambushes, risking everything for the man who had become the soul of rebellion. Every time they met in the shadow of the oaks or in the quiet of a moonlit glade, it felt like time stopped. "You fight a war you cannot win," she whispered once. Robin smiled. "Then I'll fight until I do." Years passed. The forest grew thicker. The legend grew louder. Ballads were sung in every tavern. Coins were stamped with his likeness. Even the soldiers sent to kill him began to doubt the cause they served. Then came the fateful day, the sheriff's trap. It was whispered that King Richard had returned from the Crusades and wished to pardon Robin Hood. The outlaw, cautious but hopeful, agreed to meet the supposed royal envoy in a meadow beyond Sherwood. But it was a lie. As Robin approached the clearing, arrows darkened the sky. Dozens of soldiers burst from hiding, their armor flashing like teeth. "Run!" cried Little John. But Robin didn't run. He turned, loosed arrow after arrow, his movements a blur of grace and fury. For every man that came forward, one fell, but numbers were merciless. An arrow struck his side, another grazed his arm. Little John fought to reach him, roaring like thunder. Marion appeared from the trees, dagger in hand, her eyes wild with terror. "Go!" Robin gasped. "Protect the people!" "No!" she cried, tears streaking her face. "Not without you!" And then through the chaos, the sheriff himself stepped forward. So this is the great Robin Hood, a thief dressed as a hero. Robin smiled, blood on his lips, a hero dressed as a thief. Their blades clashed, steel singing against steel, echoing through the trees. But just as the sheriff raised his sword for the killing blow, a horn sounded, the king's horn. From the forest edge, riders stormed into the clearing, banners of the Lionheart snapping in the wind. King Richard himself rode at their head. "Hold!" the king roared. "By my crown, let no man strike another!" The soldiers froze. The sheriff's face turned pale. Richard dismounted, his golden armor gleaming. He looked at Robin, broken, bleeding, but unbowed. "Is this the outlaw they call Hood?" he asked. Robin, struggling to kneel, whispered, "Once a loyal knight, my liege, then a man who saw too much injustice to stand idle." The king studied him for a long moment, then smiled faintly. "England needs men like you, not behind bars, but beside her." And before all who watched, Richard lifted Robin to his feet. "Rise, Sir Robin of the Greenwood, Knight of the People!" Cheers erupted across the clearing. The sheriff was stripped of his title, his power broken like his pride. Years later, when peace had returned and the people of Nottingham once again smiled without fear, Robin and his band remained in Sherwood. Not as outlaws, but as guardians. Marion stood beside him, the forest their home, the people their family. And though time would one day take them, their story never died. Because Robin Hood was never just one man. He was every soul that dared to stand against tyranny, every heart that chose compassion over gold. He was the whisper in the woods, the arrow in flight, the courage in the face of oppression. And if you listen, even now, when the wind passes through the old oaks of Sherwood, you can still hear it. A faint, proud voice carried by the leaves, saying, "Stand for the weak, fight for the right, and never bow your spirit."